Hey there, it's Lynn from Always Moving Mommy, and I want to share a little bit about a trip that we took to Carowinds Amusement Park in Charlotte, North Carolina, and hopefully help answer some questions if you are planning a trip to Carowinds as well. If you have more questions or you have more tips, drop them in the comments because I want to be able to help answer those questions. Or if you have tips, I want to know them for our next trip too. And I will have a full blog post up over on alwaysmovingmommy.com, so you can check out tons more information there as well. So first things first with Carowinds, it is an amusement park, and there is also a water park included with your admission. So you get two parks for the price of one. Carowinds is incredibly affordable. If you keep an eye on lots of local promotions, download their app, go to their website, follow on social, you can see any promotions that they're running to help you save money on tickets for your visit. I will say that there are plenty of things in the amusement park section of the park for anyone. So you don't have to worry if it looks like it's a bunch of roller coasters and you're not into roller coasters. There is still plenty of other things to do. There is a good variety also for kids and adults of any age. There is a whole section for little people, and there are height requirements on some of the other attractions that some of the younger guests may not be able to ride on. So keep that in mind if you're planning to go with a group that has kids and adults of varying ages and heights. Someone may have to sit off of some of the rides if you're traveling with really young kids. But someone may want to sit off the ride. Not everybody wants to go on everything, so that works too. In addition, the water park has a ton of different things and different areas for different age groups, which is one thing that I love as a mom, knowing that when my kids were younger, they had a spot to go where the big kids weren't necessarily allowed. I didn't have to worry as much about them getting plowed over. Kids play, they're not paying attention to other little kids around them or thinking about splashing or anything like that. So having that dedicated area for the younger kids, especially in the water park area, is something that I love to see as a mom. The lifeguards and staff that were there were very accommodating from what we saw as well. If there were older siblings, they were able to stay together, which is fantastic. That was also hard because I have two older boys and then a younger daughter. So sometimes my boys may have met a height requirement or aged out of a certain area, and I'm a single mom. I can't necessarily be in two places at one time. So I did always appreciate when those exceptions were made so that my kids could all stay together and everybody could play and I could keep an eye on everyone. I will say from our experience too, that it did seem like the majority of parents were there and hands-on and watching. People were not just sending their kids off to the water park or to an area of the park to do things. They were there and actively like parenting their children, which I also appreciate as a mom, because we've all been in those situations where you're like, I don't necessarily want to parent a random stranger's child, but I will certainly correct you if your behavior deems me to do so. So I definitely think overall we spent one day in Carowinds and the water park. Did we do it all? No, we sure didn't. Could we have spent another day? Absolutely. I think you could spend one whole day just in the amusement park area, one whole day just in the water park area. If you only have one day, would I skip Carowinds altogether? Absolutely not. I would not do that either. There is plenty to do, and if you do a little bit of planning ahead of time, you can fit a lot of things in if you only have a one-day visit. So I wouldn't discount it or skip it if you only have one day to do it. Now, think about where you're staying. If you're not a local, we stayed in a local vacation rental that was not far from Carowinds. But know that Carowinds is off the expressway. It is easy to get to and get back on the expressway to get to wherever you need to go. If you are not looking to do all of that, Carowinds does also have cabins right on site where you can just stay right there and not have to worry about all of that. So if you wanted to maybe sleep in a little bit longer in the morning and not have to get up and travel to Carowinds, potentially staying at one of their properties might be a better fit for you. So definitely think about that. And a lot of local hotels and vacation rentals will tell you about how far away that you are from Carowinds when you're booking those accommodations. So you can definitely check that out as well. You can also put it into your Maps app on your phone, and it could tell you how far away from Carowinds that potential hotel might be while you're looking at that. Now, like I said, Carowinds is off the expressway, and Charlotte is a huge city, especially compared to where we were coming from. So you want to think a lot about travel time and when you are coming and going. So you don't want to get into rush hour traffic if you can avoid it. Obviously, that would take you longer to get to or from the park and could add some extra frustration to your day. So if you can avoid that, that is always a good thing. We talked about tickets a little bit. Definitely download the app, follow on socials, go to their website. They are very great and very clear about explaining the different ticket options available for different things, whether you're going for a special event or if you're just getting park tickets. If you want an annual pass to purchase those, you can purchase everything in advance. Parking, food vouchers, your park tickets, all of that can be purchased in advance. You store it on your phone and scan a barcode when you get there. They will do the rest. It is seamless. It worked very well. I was a little nervous having everything on my phone. I made sure to have tons of screenshots and lots of my backup information to show what I had paid for, what I had purchased, all of that. And I didn't need any of it. It was all right there in my phone. Everything worked really great. I was able to upload everything into the app, so it was all in one place. And the other families that we were traveling with all were able to access the app and get that information as well. So everything was in one place, and we were all kind of connected with each other throughout the day as far as that goes. Think about how many times you're going to go to see if an annual pass or just regular park tickets are the best option for you, and look at what's included in the different options. If you're going to go multiple times, an annual pass might be the best option. Even when you're looking at including parking and things like that, any discounts that you might get with those. So definitely take the time to do a little bit of research as to what your travel plans are going to be, if this is going to be a one-day visit, a one-time visit, or multiple days, so that you're getting the most bang for your buck and spending your money as wisely as possible so that you can use that savings in other places. Because there are definitely opportunities to spend more money once you get into the parks. We talked about attractions a little bit. There really is something for everyone. We traveled in the middle of summer. I was anticipating a lot of lines, not being able to get a whole lot of things done in the park just because it's crowded. There's only so many attractions. There's only so many places to go, and lines are part of theme park life. We were all very pleasantly surprised to see that we didn't spend a ton of time in line in any of the attractions, honestly. Now, we did get there as soon as the park opened in the morning. We stayed until the park closed at night, and there were 3 families in our group that traveled together. So we had 4 adults and 3 children traveling with us, and there was more than enough to keep everybody busy. There were things that the adults wanted to ride. There were things the kids wanted to ride. There were things we all wanted to ride, which was fantastic. I am over 40, so I was slightly concerned about some of those roller coasters and how my back was going to do and all of that good stuff. I can say that everything was good. I was not in any pain, which is fantastic. I also am a plus size person, so that is something that is always on my mind as well, going into new situations like this. Are there going to be things that I'm not going to be able to ride because I simply physically cannot fit on them? Everything that I wanted to ride at Carowinds and wanted to experience, I was able to do so, thankfully. There was not anything that I was unable to ride due to my size. The cast members, the guests, and guests worked really well together. There were a couple of people who needed some help getting seat belts or safety harnesses and things fastened, and everyone who worked there was fantastic in working with them so that everybody who wanted to and was able to ride really could in the safest way possible. We did also experience a little bit of rain during our visit, and some of the attractions do close during rainstorms, lightning in the area, things like that. So definitely keep that in mind. Watch the weather when you're going so that you can keep an eye on attractions that are open and closed. Using the app will help a lot. There are not physical maps that you can get at the park. Everything is in the app. I will say that is probably the biggest frustration for me. I am a paper girl and I want to have that map in my hand. I want to be able to look at it and figure out where we're going. Not having that wasn't a deal breaker for me, but I was very thankful to have someone else in our group that I could say, you're in charge of getting us around, because there were times where I felt like the app wasn't 100% clear or it wasn't super obvious where we needed to go, and we maybe could have taken shorter routes or went a different way to get somewhere, so we might have wasted some time or walked a little farther than we needed to in those situations. So I will say that was one thing that we were not in love with during our visit. So make friends with the app. Get familiar with the attractions that your family wants to go on, whether it be in the amusement park or in the water park. There are some rides over there as well. And if you're traveling with younger people, make sure that you're looking at the height restrictions for all of those so that nobody is getting excited to ride on something that they won't be able to actually ride on when they get there. Now, when it comes to food, Carowinds has traditional theme park food, hamburgers, chicken tenders, french fries, things like that. They do also have several dining establishments that have other things like barbecue, macaroni and cheese, pizza, things like that. So again, in your app, you can find all of that information. And we felt like everything was labeled pretty well outside before you even went in to go and get food. It was very clear what you were going to go in and find inside of the restaurant so that you didn't waste your time spending time in line for something that you were not going to even eat or enjoy. They do have the option to purchase food vouchers where you can get like a meal or a snack or refillable drinks, things like that throughout the day. Definitely consider that if it's something that you're planning to purchase a bunch of meals while you're there, because you're not able to bring in a bunch of outside food. So you do need to be purchasing snacks and drinks and food while you're in the park, and having those wristbands, purchasing your food that way can save some money. We did not feel like there was any kind of limitation. We felt like there was a good enough variety of the food offered that everybody was able to find things regardless of what we wanted to eat, what our diets were dictating, if we were, any kind of sensitivities or food allergies or anything like that. We were able to accommodate everybody in our group, which was nice because that doesn't happen a lot of times when you're on vacation, especially at a theme park. One thing I will say about the dining tickets and wristbands that you get is that not everything's included, and it wasn't 100% clear on the website or the app because we were reading that things were included that weren't necessarily included once we purchased the wristbands and started using them. So definitely make sure to look into that and ask questions if you have them. Sometimes it was a cast member error and they didn't realize that something was included, and sometimes it was our fault and we misread it or didn't understand clearly or something like that. So don't be afraid to ask questions and ask if something's included before you have to pay additionally for a snack or a drink or food, something like that. The water park was a highlight of the day for sure. It was something that we were excited about when we were planning our trip to Carowinds. We live in the South and are in the pool pretty much every day. Our pool's open here April 1st and stay open till the end of October. So a pool isn't a huge draw for us, but knowing that we were traveling in the middle of summer and having that option and ability to be able to just go jump in the pool and cool off for a few hours was fantastic. Now, Carowinds does have lockers at the front of the parks as well as back in the water park area. So you could bring all of your water park supplies, stash them in a locker. It does cost based on size to store stuff in the lockers all day, but it was totally worth it to not have to lug that around with you and be able to just leave all of that in the locker, especially the wet stuff after you took it off and changed back into dry clothes. Being able to just pop that into a locker and leave it till the end of the day was great. I will caution you to say that any lockers in the water park area, that area gets gated off, shut, locked when the water park closes. So if you have stuff in your lockers, you're not getting it out. So you want to definitely keep that in mind when you're choosing a locker. If you're planning to stay until the park closes, you may not want to use one of the lockers in the pool area if you're going to continue to store your stuff, because you simply won't be able to get to it. There are 2 different pools in the water park area. There are some slides, some play areas. There's a cute lazy river. There is plenty of stuff to do if you would rather splash in the wave pool, float in the lazy river, go down the slides. There are food options and drink options in the water park area, so you're not having to walk and go back and forth into the actual theme park, into the water park to get food and snacks and drinks and things like that. We took our own towels, plenty of sunscreen because it is an open area. There were plenty of chairs and places to put things so that you kind of had a meeting spot in a generalized area in the water park area as well, which was really nice. There were shade over some of the chairs and shaded places to kind of sit. I will say that one thing that we planned for, and I'm glad that we did, was the ground is concrete. And if you are walking on very, very hot concrete in the middle of summer in Charlotte, North Carolina, your feet are going to get burned. So make sure that you're bringing water shoes or flip-flops, something to keep your feet warm, or not warm, feet covered while you are walking around. If you leave everything at your chair and then think you're going to be walking to the lazy river or something like that, there were so many people trying to walk in the grass or walk on their tiptoes so that their whole foot wasn't touching the concrete, kids crying because the ground was hot, parents having to carry them, things like that. So definitely keep that in mind if you're planning to spend some time in the water park. The ground gets very, very warm and you will want to protect your feet. Now, getting around the park, like I said, the map and everything is right in your phone. It is very walkable. There are plenty of paths. There are some spots where there's signage throughout the park. There's not a ton, but every person that we stopped and asked questions of was very helpful and able to tell us how to get around the park if we needed assistance with that. And even for the younger kids that were with us, it was very walkable. There were no strollers involved. There was nobody carrying anyone, anything like that, which was nice. So as far as navigating everything, like I said, it wasn't challenging. It would have been easier for me to have a physical paper map in my hand to get around than to have to look at the app and turn it and figure out how we were getting around that way. So that was kind of our experience. We loved it. The adults had a good time. The kids had a good time. There were plenty of shaded seating areas throughout the park. So if one of us was either taking the kids on a ride or not going on the ride, there was a place for the rest of the adults or the kids who didn't want to go on the rides to wait. So that was definitely something nice to see. There was plenty of seating in every snack and restaurant area that we were in, for all of us to sit together, or for us to all kind of take our own tables and spread out a little bit and have a few minutes to ourselves. The bathrooms were clean, which was nice, in both the theme park area and in the water park area. They did have showers available in the water park area if that was something that you wanted to do after you got out of the pool. Definitely an option there. Overall, it was a really great experience. We were pleasantly surprised. We had pretty low expectations going in, truthfully. We have all been to other theme parks that didn't necessarily do so great. And this was a really great experience, and we will definitely be returning again in the future. I will also say that we were gifted tickets to visit Carowinds. All of the opinions and experiences are truthful and honest, and I would have shared them regardless of if we were gifted the tickets or not. So that did not influence our visit or any of our opinions in any way. If anything, it makes me look at somewhere a little more critically, because I know that I will share my opinions with those types of things. So that is also, I want to be clear about that. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. And like I said, I have a bunch more information over on alwaysmovingmommy.com. You can find over there, and you are welcome to leave comments and questions over there as well, and share your tips too, because we want to go back and we want to do it even better next time around. So if you have more tips, please go ahead and share those as well.